Hi everybody, Russ from Hammers 11. Hope you're safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made aware of any time we put new content on. Today's video, as always, is brought to you by Untuckit. Check out in the description below for all your t-shirts, shirt, polo tops, jumper needs, all designed to be worn untucked, obviously the shirts particularly as well, and lots of different sizes, so even guys like me can get a shirt that fits them. So check them out and show them some love. Today's guest, he's been a busy boy on the old YouTube recently. It's Mr. Ben Glander. Hi, Ben. How are you, man?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to come on.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on as well. For those of you who don't know, Ben's gone quite late notice, so I appreciate Ben coming on. You know, we've been trying to get him for ages, so I just thought in the off chance, and it's all works. The stars have aligned, so that's all good.
Yeah, it worked out. It worked out pretty nice, to be fair.
Yeah. How are you, man? How's you in this sort of weird world? Yeah, we're going back into lockdown now.
Yeah, well, as you know, it's been difficult for everyone, and I unfortunately was one of those people that got made redundant on the furlough scheme.
Yeah.
And today, I actually had to go to like an agency interview to hopefully get a job. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do at the moment. And obviously, I started the West Ham channel sort of as like a project during lockdown, sort of to make up time because I create FIFA videos anyway. So I thought, you know, I love talking West Ham. So I thought, you know what, my dad always used to say to me, Ben, you should be a pundit or something when you grow up. You got like not a lot of knowledge about football. Used to be called Stato. Used to be a football referee back in the day. So I thought, you know what, I had the equipment, had the webcam. So I just started uploading and talking about West Ham, and that's what I do. Try and do a couple of times a week at the moment.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I started this because of the first lockdown. Right now we're going to lockdown 2.0, but I same as you, just sort of more in it, just sort of to while the hours away a little bit in it, because you can only watch so much box sets and so much TV and stuff. So at least it gives me an opportunity to come and talk to people about West Ham. Obviously, then was different because obviously in the first lockdown, we didn't have football for 100 days, so everyone was getting nostalgic and talking about the old days, and hopefully it's going to carry on through this second lockdown. So at least we have something to moan about every week. Yeah. We love a moan, don't we, being a West Ham fan?
It'll probably go quick, to be honest, with all the football. That's what dragged on last time when there was no football for like a couple of months. That's what all dragged on. Like, you know, there was nothing really to look forward to during the week or at weekends. So at least, hopefully, well, they call it obviously elite football. We'll carry on during it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you're right. It's because then we had that sort of deluge of football, didn't we? When they tried to make from restart, so you had like 90 odd games in the space of about 4 weeks, weren't it? So it was like 4 games every week, and at least it's a little bit less sort of, because I got a little bit full, to be honest, of all the football.
It was like as soon as you finished one game, pretty much the next one was starting like a day later. So yeah.
And you sort of missed them, you know. So I missed forget, you know, a day, and I look at my phone and there's been 3 Premier League games already. And you're like, how did that happen? But and all the silly times as well, like, you know, like 6 o'clock kickoffs and stuff like that. I just did my brain in.
Oh yeah, silly times.
Do you listen to it with this crowd noise on, or the crowd noise off when you watch the feed?
The crowd noise on. I feel like I just feel like you have to have the noise on. Now I don't even notice that the fans ain't there. Obviously, a lot of teams will have they'll cover the seats and whatnot, but now I don't even think about the fans. Literally, like with the audio, with the music, I'm used to it now. Like it'd probably be weird seeing fans back in.
Totally.
So yeah, I'm totally fine with it and cool with it at the moment.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's surprise. It always surprises me how quickly people adjust to things and how quickly everyone's adjusted to watching football on telly. You know, for people who maybe been going every home game for like 50, 60 years, for the last sort of dozen games they've been watching it on telly, and they just sort of have to do it. There's nothing you can do about it, is it? So it's like just got to sit there. But at least you get a decent view. You haven't got to, you know, squash yourself onto the train at Stratford or anything like that. So it's not too bad. At least you're in the safe comfort of your own home rather than, you know, loads of people coughing or whatever all over the place. So it's not too bad. Not too bad. But yeah, no, it is. And you know, we've had our rough spell of games out of the way now. So it's all plain sailing now, isn't it? Yeah, plain sailing. 3 points to get Fulham. No worries.
Next month we've got some winnable fixtures. So hopefully we can actually kick on, because we know what West Ham are like. We've done well. We'll end up losing against Fulham, Sheffield United, and Aston Villa, I think it is. And then we're back to in a relegation battle. So hopefully we've turned the corner and we'll start beating teams that we should, or picking up points we should really be picking up points in.
Exactly. But yeah, it's always I mean, it is West Ham. When their fixtures came out and there was like, oh god, the first 7 or 8 go, oh god, we're not going to pick up any points till Fulham. You don't go, it's West Ham. They're going to just like when the chips down like that, they always turn up. And but the adverse thing is the sort of the games where we are going to be favourites. So Fulham will be favourites, and for Sheffield United will be favourites, and for Villa will probably actually more Villa, Champions League Villa at the moment. But still, they've still been playing well, and I think it's going to be. That's when we struggle, but who knows? As you said, hopefully, I just think that this is a different West Ham now. Yeah. It's a bit different, They just seem to have more of a. I don't know what the word is. More workmanlike. Is that the right word? There's less fancy Dans in there now. Do you know what I mean? It's more like guys who are going to play for the badge, and that's what we really want to be a West Ham team. Is ones. It's not our fault. It's not your fault if you're not technically good enough. It's not your fault you've been put in this position, but as long as you play, as long as you go for it, and you run your heart out, we can't really ask anything more of you. And it seems to be the type of players that he's bringing in, all seem to be putting shifts in. So yeah, we'll see. I like to listen. I like to listen to the crowd noise off at the away games. Obviously, I'm there at the home games, but the away games, because I like hearing players swear. Firstly, but secondly, just because I'm like a little schoolboy sometimes. But I like hearing who's the dominant voices on the pitch.
That was very cool.
Yeah. So like Oggy shouts loads and Dex shouts loads, as you imagine. But the bench, listen to like Moisey and Alan Irvine and Nolan and Piercy, all just like literally shouting all the time. There's a lot of noise coming from our bench, and I like that. I like it. There's just something about the team and the setup at the moment. I just think there's something good coming on. I just hope they, just as you said, I hope the results, carry on, because I don't want to be in another situation like we were last year. I'd take 10th. I'll take a boring 10th.
I would take 10th, even 11th or 12th. Just something, just a boring season where almost sort of consolidation season. Just a boring season, not having to worry about relegation come January or February. Just a boring season. 12th, 11th. Obviously 10th, I think would be fantastic. Just a couple of seasons of stability. That's what we need.
Yeah, I want a couple of seasons of stability, a couple of seasons where come January, come before, obviously the FA Cup starts in January, we have a decent go at the FA Cup. The Carabao we're never going to do well in the Carabao because it starts too early, and we want it's, unless you've got a squad to Man City's standards or Liverpool standards. To be honest, Liverpool's looking a bit ropey, but to Man City standards and Chelsea standards, you ain't going to put a team out a decent. You ain't going to progress in the Carabao because it starts so early. Come January, near or thereabouts how your season's going to pan out, whether it's going to be a mid-table, whether you're going to, maybe struggle. If you're down the bottom, you're never going to. So we'll see what happens. But I could do with a couple of those boring Allardyce Purposely seasons now.
We need that just for our hearts, really. I don't think my blood pressure can go. One season, we're going to finish 10th. The next season, we're 2 or 3 points from relegation.
Yeah.
I just think my heart rate to be at a consistent beats per minute for a year, and not if we're playing.
Is that too much to ask? Really, you know what I mean? Is that too much to ask? But it's true. Also, it's one of those things where when you look at the first 11, I always think, that's why this season everyone's like worried about. You look at our first 11; it's a good team. We've got a good team. That first 11's a good. We know we're a bit, weak after the first 11 goes, but as long as people don't get injured, and then obviously Antonio gets injured and buggers up our complete game plan. But I'm gonna back Haller to score brace on Saturday. I tell you, I think he's gonna. He'll do. I hope so.
I hope he does.
Because there's a player in there. There is a player. We know there's a player in there. It's just, I just think, Saturday was the wrong formation for him, and round peg square hole, or vice versa, whatever it is, and it's a frustrating thing because you can see there's a player in there, and when he has support, it works. But hey ho, we'll see what happens. That's the joy of being a West Ham fan. Anything can happen. Every day is a different story, isn't it? That's why, I feel sorry. I mean, you're a YouTuber as well. I mean, I feel sorry for people who are, Southampton YouTubers. What do they talk about? Seriously, it's like there's nothing going on over there. Leicester as well, like these sort of Burnley, Burnley, they're going to take the takeover bid, but like there's not much for them to talk about, is there? We've got like soap operas every day, and I love it. I love it.
If it's not something that's coming out in the media, one of our players has got injured, someone's had a car accident, someone's done something else. Like our club just never fails to have some kind of drama revolved around it at any given moment. Like, it's just one of those clubs that always has something going on.
Yeah, and it's always interesting, and it's the same as the team, isn't it? You know that team's going to turn up 3 or 4 times a season against the big boys, but you don't know what game it's going to be, so you got to watch every game. And you get a few 0-0 boring, no goals or no shots on target, and then you'll get the Tottenham game, or then you'll get then we play Leicester City off the park, and and that's why I love West Ham, because it's just like it is entertaining. It's always been the way, and that's why I love it. You look at not back in the day, I'm not that old, but with like Man United, we'd always end up them losing the title because of us, and love it, and I can't wait for people to get back, because I hate it at the ground at the moment. It's so quiet, it's horrible. So much so that I have to put like one of the live streams on in the background, just so I've got something. Although they're about a minute behind me, and so I piss off Tom and Charlie at Hammer's Chat or whatever, because I'm like saying goal, but I won't say who scored. Because I like them going, there's been a goal at the stadium, but for who, Russ? And it's like just to piss them off a little bit. Substitution, and just leave it.
That's what my dad's like. Before, like, obviously, if we got to watch West Ham on stream, he's like, then make sure your phone's turned off. I don't want you phone notification coming up that we've scored or we're losing. Because I think it was the Man City game. I went to the toilet and I paused the channel. So obviously, when we're watching it, I haven't put it back in real time. Pops up on my phone that we've gone 1-0 up and Antonio scores. I'm like, hold on a second, like we're winning 1-0 apparently. Turns out I didn't put it back in real time. It was actually 3 minutes behind. So
It is funny. No, I do love it. No, it's good fun. Boy, I like the they did a podcast with them the other day actually for their Patreon stuff. It's good fun. Good, Charlie and Tom, big fans of them. And everyone else, and Stell at the Irons, because I know they get the ump now. Stell and Ann on the Irons United, and Nikki at Hammer's Chat, West Ham Fan TV, and Baz. We love them all, and everyone loves each other, which is great. So, Ben, the first question I always ask everyone, and we're only 13 minutes in, so that's not too bad for me for once. Actually, that's really bad for me for once. It's usually about 5 minutes in. Anyway, the first question I always ask, Ben, is we've spoken about West Ham a lot, obviously, you do the YouTube stuff about West Ham, but why are you a West Ham fan? I know your dad's a West Ham fan, so I can imagine there's some parental pressure, but why West Ham? Why is that your club?
So firstly, obviously, my dad, he sort of drummed it into me from an early age. He was actually born like 10 minutes away from the ground, like in East Ham. So I could just early childhood memories would be going to my nan's. She'd always used to feed me like a flake ice cream. We'd have lunch around there. And then about 2:15, we'd take a 15, 20-minute walk, it was, down obviously the high street, the main road, to the ground. And I remember when I was 7, probably my earliest memory as a West Ham fan. I think we played Sheffield Wednesday, my dad says. At half-time, I was just like asleep. I was bored. I wanted to go home, didn't like it. And he said at that point, he was like, I don't know if, Ben's going to be involved in football, like wants to come watch football. But it was only like a year or two later, then obviously he was already a season ticket holder. And I was a season ticket holder, and I was a season ticket holder for about 7 or 8 years before we had a year break. But that's why I was West Ham. Like the away games. My dad used to go to all the away games, and then as soon as I used to go to the away games, like literally, that's where my love for West Ham sort of like went from here to here. Because I feel like home games, like they're good, but I just feel like away games are just another level of. Do you know what I mean? But that's why I support West Ham, is because my dad just living 10 or 15 minutes down the road, and he drummed it into me. He was like, West Ham, no one else. And that was what it is.
It is true. It's like my daughter's 8, and although she's not really into football, she supports West Ham, and she likes wearing the shirt, and and we only live about, we live in All Church, really, 10 minutes away from Rush Green, so we can go and watch the girls when we used to be able to. Actually, they're at Dagenham Redbridge now, but we'd go and watch them quite a bit. And there's no other choice. She's got no choice, bless her, which is great. And but she knows that, and I had no choice. And both sides of my family both supported West Ham, so again, you had no choice. There was once there was a potential. I had a potential transfer to Liverpool. But when I was sort of getting into, I was thinking, but then, no, there was never going to be a club. It was literally like a 30-second thing I thought about, but no, I never changed them. And in hindsight, look where we are now. What could have been, if I was a Liverpool fan, a couple of Premier League titles, FA Cups, Champions Leagues.
When I was younger, I think I come from a home game. With my dad, and I said to my dad, I was like, "Why do we support West Ham? We're rubbish. Like, why don't we? Yeah. Why don't we support Real Madrid or something like that?" He was like, "You can support whoever you want, son, but I will not be taking you." He was like, "You want to support Liverpool, you can support Liverpool, but I will never take you." So yeah, I had no choice then. I loved going to all the football matches.
You literally had no choice if you wanted to go and watch the game, isn't it? So you're sort of like, oh, I love it. No, it's that's what it's all about, isn't it? I mean, it's not about the games, it's not about the football, because if it is, we've backed the wrong horse. But it's about the family. It's about going with your dad. It's about who you sit with. If you're season ticket holders, sitting with the same people. It's going out for that beer, or going on the boats, or going to the supporters club. And that's the sad thing at the moment, is no one can do that at the moment, and that even more so from Thursday onwards. But that's what I think that people miss more, is that together. But to be fair, I said people have adapted to it. I said my daughter's, she's 8. She's taught my mother-in-law how to do FaceTime and WhatsApp and things like that. And you have Zoom parties and watch-along parties and all that type of stuff. I think people have adapted quite well to it, to be honest, even through Twitter and Facebook and all the different groups. It's nice, isn't it? It's nice that the West Ham community is still there, even if it's virtually. And you can see when people are struggling and stuff like that. Everyone's, jumping on board, message support, FaceTime calls and stuff like that. They're just a night. I mean, West Ham fans are a different class. They really are compared to everyone else. And you get that because on this channel, I get messages from Liverpool fans, Arsenal fans, Tottenham fans, Chelsea fans, all saying, look, I watch the show. I love the show. I love the guests you get. I love the players. Love the fans. I'm not a West Ham fan, but I love listening to football, because you guys are a different type of, and I think we are a different breed of fan, aren't we? We're not like a Chelsea fan or like a Liverpool fan or a Man United fan. They're used to winning. They're used to winning stuff, and we sort of hardened, but we still have this sort of undenying allegiance to the club, despite the fact we moan about it all the time. Whoever the regime is, whoever the manager is, whoever's the 11, we've always got something to moan about. But then we know on Monday morning we get excited for the weekend again, don't we?
I just feel like other fans just know that, there's other clubs in the Premier League like Newcastle, like no matter the situation, like West Ham could be bottom of the league in December. If West Ham were able to get fans in, that ground would be full, that away end would be full. Yeah. And I feel like there's clubs like Newcastle, West Ham, who, are similar in the sense that we're just passionate fans, no matter how we could be in the Championship. If there was an allocation of 6,000, right, in an away end, I bet you my life that West Ham would fill it. Yeah. And that's just what, the kind of fans we are. We love our football club.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And because of that, you get this incredible diversity of fans all across the world. We've interviewed lots of different fans all over the world, and they follow it because of that sort of passion. And when you talk to the ex-players, they're the same. I haven't spoken to a ex-player, probably about 35, I want to say, on the channel so far. Not one of them has criticised the fans, or not mentioned the fans as one of the reasons why they love the club so much. And you see how some of the ex-players interact with people on Twitter. Good old Trev and Bishop and Peter and people like that. They interact with the Fat West Ham fans because it meant something to them. And I mean, even I know obviously no one's been at the stadium, apart from a few of us, but obviously they put all the legends around the outside of the stadium. And I took a picture of one of Trev's one and of Sinclair's one and Bishop's one. I sent it to them on Twitter, and I said, look. They were like so like taken back. It was just incredible, like how honoured they were to be like have a picture of them. It's really bizarre. You don't think of it like that. You think of it's all like quite blasé, but they were so thankful that they'd had their picture on the screen. It's very strange, but it just shows the impact of the team they have on their careers and their life. So no, it's brilliant, man. I love it. Right, okie dokie, Ben. Let's talk about your Hammers 11. Point the whole bloody channel, really. But the idea is everyone we have on the channel gives their Hammers 11. So the only rule is, and that's quite lucky because you mentioned it, is you have to be alive to have seen them play. That's the only rule. So otherwise, if not, most people would probably pick Bobby Moore and Trevor Brooking. But I wasn't around to see them. You weren't around to see them. The old man probably might have been, but we weren't. So they shouldn't really be in our 11. Because all we have to include them is memories from your dad, from yesteryear, from YouTube. So, where people might put Bobby Moore, I was around to see Javier Margas, for example. You know what I mean? That's my reference point, sadly. But you can play whatever formation. I'm not fussed. Whatever criteria. It doesn't have to be the best players. It could be the worst players. It could be your favourite players. Your cult hero. Whatever, Ben. As long as they're your players, that's all we have to do. So nice.
So we're going for 4-2-3-1.
Oh God, technical.
Yeah, we're going for like a traditional modern day formation.
Okay.
And the goalkeeper for me is going to be Rob Green. Obviously, I feel like probably the years I was growing up, I was probably like 15, 16 at the time. The performances away at Arsenal, Manchester United on the last day of the season when Tevez scored to keep us up. He was England #1 at that point, and I just feel like before maybe Fabianski, he's probably the only goalkeeper we've had in like my lifetime who's actually provided quite a few years of stability in goal. We've always had goalkeepers that are around like a year. I know obviously you've got like honourable mentions like David James. I feel like Rob Green, I actually had an England top. I remember I was a goalkeeper at one point. I actually changed from an outfield player to be a goalkeeper because I was pretty good in goal, and I had an England top with Green on the back. That was maybe a little bit biased, but for me, Rob Green for the goalkeeper, just for the reasons I mentioned. Some of the memories he gave Arsenal away, some of those saves, unreal.
Well, that Arsenal game, we had Jimmy on the channel a few weeks ago. We were talking about it, and he actually put in his own 11, in Jimmy Walker's own Hammers 11. He didn't pick himself. He put Rob Green in goal, which I thought was funny. But he was saying that Arsenal game, he was like, Green was on another level, really. He was at the Friday before, because he said actually Green technically wasn't the best goalkeeper he played with at West Ham. It was Roy Carroll, and but Green was just, his work ethic was phenomenal, and so much so that they'd trained, and I think they'd gone back in. I think Jimmy and Roy had something to eat. They had a shower. They were, and then they were about to leave, and Green was still out on the training ground with Ludo doing one-on-ones. And literally, that Arsenal game was about 10, 15 one-on-ones, I think it was. And so it just shows you the man. And he's brilliant, isn't he? And I like him because he doesn't take himself too seriously. Do you know what I mean? Football's it's too serious nowadays. I don't like it. Everyone's so social media. It's like, it's like so like it winds me up. But he takes the piss out of himself.
Did you see his haircut? His mohawk.
Yeah, Seamus. Yeah, his Seamus haircut. Yeah, that's what I like.
Yeah.
When he used to have England #6 stitched on his gloves and stuff, and used to go England #6, I love all that because it's entertainment. It's football, isn't it? We want to be entertained. Yes, we want to win, but we know we're not going to win every game.
Yeah.
But we just want to be entertained and spend get our season ticket money or our admission for away games or whatever, and feel like we've had a laugh as well. And football's a laugh; it should be a laugh. And he's good, and the fact that he still takes the mickey out of the fact he puts the Chelsea European Cup in his bio and his picture. I just love him. Absolutely love the man. It's a bit like Peter Crouch, you know what I mean? That type of just nice bloke, like and Jimmy as well, that type of play. Right, okay, so we'll play 4 at the back then, Ben. Okay, who's gonna be left back then?
Well, we haven't really been blessed with, in my ear anyway, full back options. But he's out of position now. He doesn't actually play left back anymore. It's going to be Aaron Cresswell.
Yeah.
And, again, that is mainly, because we don't have that, we haven't really been blessed with many options in fullback years. We all know, West Ham fans, like fullback hasn't really been addressed, for many years. But I do think those first couple of seasons that he come from the Championship from Ipswich, he was absolutely unbelievable. He's had to adapt his game because obviously maybe that injury that he had, and obviously lost maybe a yard of pace, lost that confidence that he could go and beat a man and put a cross in. Now he's sort of transitioned into a more of a left-sided centre-back. And since he's been that left-sided centre-back, he's been unreal. But yeah, for me, I probably would have to go to Aaron Cresswell. Yeah, Aaron Cresswell.
Yeah, sounds good. And you're right. He's he's had this sort of renaissance really now, isn't he? And the last time Moisey was in as well, he had a renaissance because he played in back three. He's like, quite bloody obvious. That's the way to play him. But I think I like him. I just think he's really good. I've always liked him, always rated him as a player. Right, okay, so we'll put Aaron in. I mean, he's been around for a while as well. Not players don't stay around for
to sort of include. I know we've had like Wayne Bridge, who might have been technically a better player than Cresswell, but I'm also trying to think of longevity and all that kind of stuff.
No, exactly. Right, okay, put Aaron in. Let's go right back. Go on, let's go the other side.
I'm going to go for Lucas Neill.
Yes,
I think,
good shot.
Again, at the time, we were a club that was struggling, and he come in, was captain under Kirbishley, and I think he just sort of give the place what we needed. We needed a leader. We needed someone, who just to lead, just to be a sort of a presence in the dressing room. And for me, whilst, yes, he wasn't the most blessed going forward, he was good defensively. He was good defensively, maybe not blessed going forward, but obviously back then, the game was a lot different to what it is now. And fullbacks weren't, one of the major positions on a football pitch, where now, a lot of the best teams in the world, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, all those teams have got ones of the best fullbacks you can get. So for me, it would have to be Lucas Neill, just because obviously the presence he would have had. He come in at a time that was it was tough, and we sort of stabilised with him when he was captain.
Yeah, and I think with Lucas Neill as well. I mean, we have had Anton and a few others of his time, and they speak of what a great captain he was, like a club captain, like a team captain. And I can totally see that. He was quite brash. He was quite, being Australian, he had quite a sort of a domineering voice. But he was brilliant, apparently. As a man, as a captain, he sort of made sure that people, when we won games, wasn't a lot during that time, it was a great escape and stuff. But when we won games, part of the win bonus, he'd go around everyone and take their money and distribute it to like the tea lady and the groundsman and the boot boys and the kit men, because just because if they were doing what they were doing at their minimum wage, whatever they were on, just think what they could be doing if they were earning a little bit more. If we were, so stuff like that. I just think it's great, and that's sort of the insight we get into the interviewing players is that type of story which you never would hear otherwise. No one would mention that, and it's not really like newsworthy for a book or in the Sun or whatever like that. So no, top bloke. And I think we've done all right with those sort of captains, haven't we? I mean, you got Lucas Neill, like Kevin Nolan, I think was a great captain for us, and I think Mark's a great club captain for us now as well. So captain's not usually an issue for us. Neither is goalkeeper, really, but you said fullbacks usually are, unfortunately. Although I have all faith in Sufal or Kufal. No one's really sort of found out how to pronounce it properly.
I get on my videos, I always get Ben is Sufal, it's Kufal, it's Sukek.
When it comes to that, so it should be Kufal rather than, because the first three letters are spelled the same, isn't it? So C-O-U rather than S-O. It's like, what was it? They keep calling Suchek something on telly. It's like Sochek or something like that, and it's it just winds me up. It's like it's not hard. Just ask the man. That's what we have to do at the games. We have to go and ask the press officer at Burnley or Wolves or whatever, how do you pronounce this player's name? That's all you have to do. It's not hard. Anyway, centre half. Then who's your first centre half? Then
James Collins.
James Collins, Mr. GP.
And I think firstly, when I was growing up, I was mainly a defender, and
Yeah.
you know, if I was ever going to envisage myself as a professional footballer, I feel like I would have come out like James Collins. I've always been someone, you know, wears their heart on their sleeve, very passionate. You know, puts their head on the line, would bleed for the club, and I just think it was obviously an absolute shame the way, you know, the club sort of treated him. And the way he went out, because he deserved a much better sending off than what he got. And I actually saw, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, I went for a walk and it was on my Twitter timeline. And, you know, there was a video, I think it might have been Marshy who tweeted it out. It was at the end of the Leicester game, I think, when Noble scored that fantastic volley. It was the year, obviously, Ginger Pele left and all the fans were singing, sign him up, Ginger Pele. And I could just think like, literally like, you know, goosebumps on my arms.
Yeah.
He loved West Ham, you know, considering, you know, he had no affiliation with West Ham. He's Welsh, you know, he had no real, you know, no affiliation with West Ham in regards to supporting them as a boy or anything like that. But he come into the club, as you said, like talking about earlier, like he loved the club because of the fans. He got into like understood the club's culture, and for me, I think everything he was as a player. Yes, he, you know, was he the greatest defender? No, but you know, you knew he would die, would run through brick walls for the team, and if he did get skinged by a striker, you knew it wasn't through the lack of trying. It was just the striker was better than him on the day.
Yeah,
but yeah. For me, James Collins, 100%.
Yeah, I know what you mean about the way he left, and I just think it's indicative of modern football. Unfortunately, now the whole sort of nostalgic, sentimental side has been taken away.
Yeah.
It's always happened with us. I mean, you look, you've got, was it Billy Bonds is on 699 or 79? You know, he's on 99. Steve Potts was on 499 or something. You know, it's always sentimental, sort of nostalgic view, which we think as fans is lost in the game, and it has been for a while. But I think it's, and I've said it before on the channel. I think when we all get back into the stadium, whenever that may be, sometime next year, I'd imagine, maybe next season, who knows? But it's a bit of an own goal, I think, open goal rather, for the club to get GP back on, you know, with in the shirt, like half time, like little video montage, and it's easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's an easy one. He's opened the door to it. He said it on his Instagram post, didn't he? That, you know, and hopefully we'll get him on soon. He's a bit of a, you know, he's a busy man at the moment. But yeah, it's a bit of an own goal for it to get them on. And as I said, and no one would begrudge him coming on the pitch, you know, and sort of saying goodbye one time properly, really.
Yeah. That's what.
Right. Okay. Exactly. So we'll put GP in. Who's he going to partner in the middle then, Ben?
Ogbonna.
Oggy.
Yeah. Again, he's been at the club since 2015. So he, you know, just sort of you know, sort of durability. He's been one of those players, you know, obviously fantastic first season. He's had a couple of, you know, inconsistent seasons where he'd be good one season, not so good the next season.
Yeah.
Probably not due to him, but probably just the team as a whole, you know. But I just think these past 18 months, under Pellegrini, under Moyes especially, he's been fantastic. He really has. He again, another player that I feel like has sort of understood, you know, us as fans, understood the club, understand what it means to play for West Ham, not just from, you know, you just, it's as long as you work hard, do you know what I mean? And for me, Ogbonna definitely. Yeah,
and I think with Oggy, he's always been, I mean, obviously we've had this sort of, you know, 2 out of 3 in the centre backs in modern time, you know, in the last few years. So you've had Diop, Balbuena, and Oggy, and he's been the consistent one, isn't it? I mean, because obviously Balbuena came in and was brilliant, and then fell off the ball, and then Diop came in and was really good. Oggy's always been that constant, isn't he? And obviously getting back into the Italian squad more often. He's a real, you know, he's one of the ones that you can hear quite a lot on the TV when you've got the sound without the crowd noise, like talking. He talks a lot. He's a real leader, and I just think he's a nice bloke. And obviously, was he second? Yes, last year to Hammer of the Year. I mean, he's always going to be Deg. We know he's going to be Deg, but to come second, that weren't too bad to Declan Rice that year. But we'll put Oggy in. Okay, so we're playing 4-2-3-1. Okay, so let's talk about the 2 in that 4-2. Who's your first one of those 2 then, Ben?
Scott Parker.
Scott Parker.
Now, for me, again, growing up, he was probably around the age I was, like 17, 18. He had those very good, consistent years, 3 Hammer of the years, playing regular for England. And he was just one of those players who, again, would just give 100%, would fly into challenges on the edge of the box if a shot was coming in, would probably travel the most distance on the pitch, loved the fans. The fans at the time loved him. And obviously, I understand now it's like 50-50 kind of thing. For me, I still love him. I've got no issue with him joining Tottenham. The way I see it is that, he gave 3 or 4 solid years like for West Ham. Tottenham wanted him. Yes, we don't want our players joining Tottenham. At the end of the day, he joined a better team at the time. A team that was in the Champions League. And he played regular for Tottenham. It's not like he's moved and he's on the bench. He's played regular for Tottenham. He was playing regular for England. So as a career-wise, you can't blame him because unless you support West Ham, right? Unless you support West Ham, you've got that. I said that affiliation maybe as a boy. 99% of pros are going to take that career choice. For me, Scott Parker again. I actually played in that role now, like as a player. So for me, I love sliding challenges. I love being aggressive. Getting in people's faces, kind of thing. So for me, Scott Parker.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. He's, and that's one thing that really winds me up. Every time someone talks about Scott Parker, I get really wound up about when people don't rate the man. We put onto a pedestal people who have played a lot less games than him and have given a lot less effort than him. He won Hammer of the Year 3 years in a row. Go back and look who else has won the Hammer of the Year that much. You're talking about Bobby Moore. You're talking about, Dixie. You're talking about Brooklyn. You're talking about the greats, the Billy Bonzes, and so he was, when you talk about players you want to put 100% in, play for the shirt, he did that 90 minutes every game.
Even won PFA, is it the PFA Player of the Year? Or he won the Player of the Year, also Player of the Year. And for a team that got relegated that year, for a player to get that over people, at the end of the day, we all know goals score football matches, and Ballon d'Ors, Player of the Years, all players that have scored goals. For a midfielder to win such an award, an individual award for a team that's been relegated, I think speaks volumes of the quality that he had. And obviously the work rate and the effort that he put in.
Totally. And I remember seeing him crawl off the pitch. Absolutely crawl off the pitch. And even when he was leaving, I think that the game before, he played against Watford away and scored. And, and it's like, he's just, we talk, we want these players. And then when we do, just because they've left to improve their career and not play in the Championship for us, when he just broke into the England squad, when his dad in his deathbed, he'd say he played for Tottenham, when he didn't want to move his kids out of school but didn't want to take a pay cut. It's like, well, what would we do if you're in a job and they go, right, you can do the same job, but we're going to take a 20% pay cut? What? No, I'm all right. I'll go and work for a rival. It's like, well, it's the same thing. Like, again, it's what we were saying about Ginge. Is that nostalgic view of football, isn't it? And it is a career to some people. And as you said, if they weren't a West Ham fan, then that's what they would do. If they were a West Ham fan, the chances are they wouldn't have gone to Tottenham. But how many players have we got that, we've come through the doors in recent years that are West Ham fans? Maybe 2 or 3. Right, so we put Scott Parker in. Who else is going to be in that 2 then, Ben?
Well, it was tossed up between 2 people, Noble and Declan Rice.
Yep.
Just because of the quality of player, I'm going to go Declan Rice, just because of sheer quality. Obviously, just an honourable mention for Noble. As I said, we'll talk about, he's a West Ham boy through and through. It's lived the dream of every childhood West Ham fan growing up. Done it, played all these games, been there when we got relegated, been there when we've been promoted, stuck through the club. There was a time where apparently he was supposed to go Fulham or something because he weren't wanted a long time ago. But, he was still here. But I just think Declan Rice for me, I feel like under Moyes especially, we're seeing, a completely different player to what maybe a Declan Rice we saw under Pellegrini. I feel like, Declan Rice has now got he had the ability, but it's just sort of having the confidence and the team around him to go and do, support attacks, to, have long shots, because apparently, Declan Rice has got one of the best long range shots in the club, so they wanted to utilise it. Yeah. And I just feel like he's got the platform along with Thomas Souček next to him to sort of push on to that next level. Yes, he might leave. We know it's probably inevitable that he will eventually leave, the football club. But I just, again, since he's been in this first team, he has been the standout performer, and you could probably count on one hand, or the amount of bad games he has had as a player for someone so young, and also now he's an England regular. He's got 12 appearances for England already. He's 21 years. He's 21 years of age. It's crazy. Yeah, for me, Declan Rice.
It is, and also it's 100 games, 100 Premier League games he's played for us now. Over 100 games in total. Again, you're totally right when it comes to things like when it comes to things like Declan Rice. I totally agree. Since the arrival of Souček, he's just come to another level. Because I don't think, and no disrespect to Mr. Noble, but I don't think he has to cover for Souček. Yeah. He's had to cover for Mark, and so him and Souček have got a really good, really quick understanding of who goes forward, who stands back, and and he said he has more license to go forward. He can try the shots. Obviously there was that mazy run at Leicester, wasn't there? And him and Souček just work as a two. And I just think he's great. I think he's a great player. And I mean, it's a case of case of when, not if, rather, he goes. But I just hope we make a fuss of him now. I hope that this new improved contract comes in, because if anything, it just secures his value as a player. So he does go. So that's for me. And he's captain that. And again, 21. There was no sort of concern at all when Mark's not playing. We go, oh, Dec's captain. There's no assumption, apart from anywhere else. It just shows how much confidence and how mature the man is. Despite the fact he's only 21. You know what I mean? It's absolutely mental.
Considering there's been, as I said, players like Ogbonna, players like Cresswell have been there in the first team since 2015. And he's come in at the age of 21, showing leadership characteristics. And for him, for him to be captain at such a young age. Yeah. On the pitch captain at the moment, not the club captain, speaks volumes. I think speaks volumes.
Definitely. All right, we'll put Dec in. Who's going to be the first of the three? Then we've got, mate.
I'm going to go on the right wing, right attacking mid, right wing. I'm going to start with Trevor Sinclair. Nice. Again, this was probably my earlier years growing up, more 7 to 10, and I just remember some of the goals he used to score. He was one of those players who were extravagant in the sense that he had an overhead kick in his locker.
One of
those kind of players, very good technically. Played for England again. One of the had one on the list of played for West Ham, played for England.
Yeah.
When he was at the World Cup, when Brazil beat us, played for England, West Ham player, and he was just one of those players again, extravagant. As I said, just overhead kicks, had some fantastic goals in his locker. So for me, Trevor Sinclair on the right-hand side.
Yeah, and you're right. He's just, I love him. He's become a very much a fan of the show, and we'll get a retweet now. We'll get a like because you picked Trev, so well done. But no, he's brilliant, and he was, he just, he came to us at the right time. Resurrected his career, got him into the England squad. Again, that never happens, really, does it? It's Declan Rice is probably the exception to the rule, but they don't seem to be. They seem to be England players and then come to West Ham, or they don't seem to develop at West Ham to become an England player, and he did, and obviously playing the World Cup. And by his own admission, he was sort of floundering a bit of QPR, right thing at the right time. 2.7 million, I think, was the total we played. Obviously, we gave him Dowie and Roland as well. Look at we moan about Grady going for 18 million pounds. We got Trevor Sinclair with 2.7. Do you know what I mean? It's he's done the business. Since he well enough played that. And he said multiple positions. I think he started up front. He played left wing back, or right wing back, right wing. I love players who can do that type of stuff. A bit like Antonio, you can slot him in, and it's not about the system, it's not about how he plays. We're just going to put the effort in, and that's what's great. Okay, who is the next in that three then, Ben?
Going to go central. We're going to go Di Canio again. Household favourite, West Ham legend. West Ham, loves the club. Again, someone could do literally, you know, pour a rabbit out of a hat. You know, some of the goals he used to score growing up. Obviously, the Wimbledon goal, which was assisted by Trevor Sinclair and got goal of the season for that year. Yeah, you know, we could go on and talk about Di Canio for an hour. Do you know what I mean? Like his personality, you know, everything that he brought to the club. Yeah, for me, Di Canio. For me, he was one of the first players when I was growing up that was like lifted my bum off my seat. You know, I wanted to go every single week and watch because, you know, he's skillful, you know, his personality on the pitch. So Di Canio.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, you're right. And he was, you know, and we talk about entertaining. Yep, you know, because now we get entertained by technical ability, don't we? We get entertained by someone doing a Rabona or, you know, or just beating a man. But he was like entertaining in terms of personality and persona as well, wasn't it? So it was like he's my favourite player. He's not technically my best player at West Ham I've ever seen, but he's my favourite player because he had that technical ability.
Yeah.
But also he had that just madness about him as well, which is what we liked. He was unpredictable. He was typical West Ham. You didn't know whether he was going to have an absolute worldie technically or whether he was going to have a complete meltdown. And that's why we loved him. And he had a good song. We love a player with a good song. So who is the left-hand side of that three then?
So it's a player that, for me, give me, you know, probably the greatest year, you know, I've been as a fan. And for me, it's Dimitri Payet.
Yeah.
You know, I remember, obviously, as I said, I used to go to every single away game with my dad.
Yeah.
And there was times like Blackburn away, my dad couldn't make it. And I would go on a coach or I would drive to Blackburn on my own because of moments that, you know, what Payet did. And I feel like, you know, whilst obviously he left on a sour note, but, you know, for me, growing up, again, I was 21 at the time. For me, obviously, throughout my whole childhood supporting West Ham, that season has been the greatest that I've seen, you know, live. And yeah, for me, every free kick that he had was pretty much you had a penalty. As you talked about songs, he had a very good song as well. You know, which got caught at Crystal Palace away when I think it first sort of started going around the ground. When we won 3-1 that day. And for me, Payet, he was special, man. Despite if you ignore the fact, you know, what happened in the end, if you just concentrate on that year, for me, I think for that year, he was probably, well, in my opinion, probably the greatest player I've seen live for West Ham.
Yeah, mine too. Technically the best player I've ever seen play.
You know,
totally the same.
And obviously, I know it's subjective based on, you know, generations, or you brought up Brooking, or you watched Di Canio for more years than I have. Yeah, for me, Dimitri Payet, he was unbelievable.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he still appears, and I think I haven't got the spreadsheet open, but you know, I think we had like 220 odd guests or something so far, and he does appear in like, you know, a quarter or a third, you know, because even from different generations, because you know the impact he had as a player at such a start, you know, very from the first game he had that impact. He was brilliant, and yeah, he had that sort of, there was that temperamental side, there was that side that he threw his toys out the pram, but you get that with those types of players, you know, Arnautovic. I mean, Di Canio only got him because he pushed over a referee. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, in hindsight, these things happen, but there was no denying his skill. Was it? I mean, he was like, you know, as I said, you don't, and you know, probably in our lifetime, sadly, Ben, I don't think we'll ever get a Ballon d'Or nominee play for West Ham again. I don't think he will. So we need to enjoy that and embrace having that. Yeah, it was an honour watching him play in Claret and Blue because he was that good, and I just thought he was brilliant. He just had like, you know, but but I say, unlike Di Canio had like the temperament as well and the sort of flamboyance. Payet would entertain you by beating a man with football and the free kicks and stuff, where Di Canio would do some of that, but it'll be the mamma mia, you know. That's why I quite enjoyed. That's why I enjoyed him more. But, right, okay. So we got Payet. That's the 3. So 4, 2, 3. So 1. Okay. So who's up front?
So it was between 2 players, and it was between Dean Ashton and Marko Arnautovic. And you know, I'm gonna go Marko Arnautovic, and the reason why is I think a lot of it is because, you know, he's one of those type of players. You know, he was a bastard. Do you know what I mean? He was, you know, he was one of those players that for opposition you absolutely hate. For us, it would have been, you know, Costa at Chelsea at the time. You absolutely hate to play against them, but you absolutely, you know, sort of love them being on your team. And I think a lot of it was his arrogance as well. I know, like you were saying about, obviously, a lot of these players, they have almost like an arrogance about them, you know, as well. And yeah, for me, as much as I did love Dean Ashton, I also loved Marko Arnautovic. But again, it feels like my girlfriend's cheated on me twice. You know, Marko Arnautovic, I think when he got put from a wide position into a forward, he had a bit of everything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Run the line, he could run the channels, he could score a header. You know, and it was just some of his celebrations and his arrogance, and I loved him. I loved him, man. It was such a shame that these players keep letting me down.
It's the same, isn't it? He's just like, he's temperamental and throw his toys at the pram, and you know, grass isn't necessarily greener on the other side. And obviously, everything happened with COVID, and there was talk of him trying to orchestrate a move back, and it's like, well, God, that wouldn't happen. But no, and it's true. It's sort of the Moyesification. I'm going to coin a new phrase of players. So he did it with Antonio as well. You know, took in essence a right winger and just went, look, you're quite good. Just go up front and just be a complete. And he was a bastard, but he was our bastard, wasn't he? And he liked scoring goals and he liked running past defenders, and that's what we like as fans.
Yeah.
In the same way that Antonio will run past defenders. You know, Antonio is not very skillful. He's not a very skillful player, but he has got two very, very quick legs, and he's built like, you know, just the proverbial house, and so it works. But Arnautovic had that skill, didn't he? He had that. He could beat a man. He always that thing we should cut inside, didn't he? Sort of chop inside, and you know it was going to happen all the time. A bit like Di Canio. Di Canio would always do that really fake back heel, where he's almost like, he should almost just say it, right, I'm going to do this back, I'm going to pretend to do a back heel. It's so obvious it was so, but they fell for it every time. I mean, Arnie, again, another couple of seasons, he'd have been up there, wouldn't he? He'd been up there as a West Ham modern day great, you know, not a legend. I think legend gets banned around too much, but a modern day great. But no, it's good, man. And that's it, man. That's the 11.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I was thinking literally before. I was like, I need to think of an 11. And to be fair, once I thought about it, it come pretty quickly.
Once you give yourself some parameters, it makes things a lot easier. It's like when people have got, you know, a more bigger spread of players, so the more experienced fans. So like your old man, for example, he's obviously seen a lot of good players, you know, and it's like a nightmare. So they go, okay, well then give yourself a theme, give yourself a European 11 or one country, one man 11. So then you go, right, I can't put another French person in, so I've got to put Payet in. I can't, so that means Laurent Courtois out. Laurent Courtois, where did that come from? Oh my God, that's what I love about these shows. Just random players pop in their heads. So, you know, okay, I've got to put. It's either going to be Javier Margas or Louis Jimenez. He was a good player. Do you remember Louis Jimenez?
Yeah, the Mexican player.
Yeah, I remember him because he used to have. Because I'm rubbish at seasons, but I remember people buy shirts, and he used to always, when that checkerboard SBA bet.
Collar, was it like really thick? Was it one of like?
Yeah, I think so. But it was the SBA bet one, which was like two-tone, like checkerboards. That always reminds me of him. Yeah, he bleached his hair and stuff. But anyway, it's all good fun. But obviously, thank you, Ben. Sorry, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate obviously coming on a relatively late notice, but I really, really appreciate it. And obviously, thank you to everyone for watching as well. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, or if you listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast. I can never remember Google Podcasts. Make sure you subscribe and share, and obviously check out Ben's YouTube channel, Ben Glander Football, and obviously subscribe to that, all that good stuff. And until next time, for me and Ben, take care, everyone. Stay safe, wash those hands, come on you irons, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. See you.